Welcome back to the channel that empowers you with legal and work-related knowledge in Italy. Today's video is all about you and your rights when you are injured at work, especially as a legal migrant or regular worker. We are breaking down exactly what payments, protections, and supports you are entitled to, whether you are in a construction, cleaning, factory work, or hospitality sector. So if you are a worker here in Italy, I welcome you once again to my channel, Eliseo TV 1. Please subscribe for those of you who have not subscribed and give me thumbs up. Share this video with your friends so that they become informed and educated as to what to do when they sustain injury at work, their rights, and how to go about getting their payment as a worker. Now let's dive in. Italy takes workplace injuries very seriously. Even if you are a migrant or newly hired, even if you just started a month ago, as long as you have work contracts, you are fully protected and insured by the governing body called INAIL. The National Institute for Insurance Against Accidents at Work is an institute that insures workers in Italy. So whenever you get any injury, maybe while working, while at work, and you know you have a work contract, you are insured. So these are the steps you have to take if you get injured at work. 1, immediately go to the doctor or hospital. You may have your personal doctor, or if you don't have your personal doctor, you may go to the emergency departments of the hospital, of any hospital in the community. You go there. Number 2, the doctor will issue you certificate of injury. So this is why you have to go to the hospital. When you get there, your doctor or the emergency doctor will issue you certificate of injury, certificato medico, and send it electronically to INAIL, the insurance governing body that ensures that all workers are protected. So the doctor will send it to them. Also, your employer must report the accident to INAIL within 2 days. So if you have a good employer, definitely within 2 days, your employer will send that certificate, and also will inform the INAIL that you got an injury, you sustained an injury from work. Okay, if you have checked your busta paga, your payslip, you would have seen INAIL written on it. So it tells you that you are insured as a worker in Italy. Even if your employer refuses to report the accident, some workers don't have good relationship with their employers, and even some employers are mean, are wicked. So they may not want to implicate themselves. Hence, they may not want to report it to INAIL. However, INAIL still processes the claim if the doctor sends the certificate to them. Now, as an injured worker, you are entitled to free medical support. INAIL covers 100% of your medical expenses. You don't have to buy any drug. You don't have to pay for anything. Because you are injured at work, you are covered. INAIL will take charge of the expenses. Okay, even if you decide to buy all these things, you must do them with your health card, whereby they are registered. Your payment is traceable. So they will have to refund it in your settled renta. However, INAIL takes care of the injury, the medical support, the emergency care, the hospital stay, the medication, the surgery, the physiotherapy. Everything is being taken care by INAIL. The transportation, you don't pay anything. This is your right as a legal worker in Italy. So as a legal worker in Italy, when you sustain an injury at the place of work, you are entitled to days off. So you may not go to work for some days, depending on the gravity of the injury you sustained. So the first step is you go to the hospital to get the injury certificate, certificato medico. You send it to your employer, who now communicates it with the INAIL. Then the doctor also sends the certificate to INAIL. So you get some days off from work without going to work. Depending on the gravity of the injury, some people stay up to 3 months without going to work. Some people stay up to 1 week, up to 6 months even. Why some people, due to the injury they sustained at work, they become incapacitated, unable to work. So such people, because of the injury they sustained, they may not be able to work again. Now the question is, who pays your salary while you are off work? Who pays your salary? Now the answer to the question, who will pay your salary if you don't go to work for 1 month or for 2 weeks? The answer is, if you absent yourself from work for 1 to 3 days, your employer will often pay you your salary. The days you are off, you will still get your full salary. But if you stay away from work, absent from work, between 4 days to 90 days, INAIL will pay you 60% of your salary. That is what the law says. Okay, INAIL will be the one that to pay you 60% of your salary if you absent yourself from work for 4 days and above to 90 days. Then if you stay absent from work from more than 90 days, 91 days upwards, your salary will be also paid by INAIL. And instead of them paying you 60%, they will pay you 75%. So from 1 to 3 days as absence from work, your employer will pay you your 100% salary. From 4 to 90 days absence from work, then your INAIL will pay you 60% of your salary. Then from 91% and above, INAIL will still pay you, but this time it won't be 60%, they will pay you 75% of your salary. Example, let me give you a real life example. Let's assume that you earn your net salary, the amount you earn is 1,400 euros per month. Then maybe due to the injury you sustained, you were absent from work for 3 days. Your 1,400 euros will still be paid by your employer. But if you are absent from work for 4 to 3 months, 4 to 90 days, who will pay you? INAIL will pay you, but they will pay you 60% of 1,400 euros per month. So instead of you getting 1,400 euros per month, you will get 840 euros per month. Meanwhile, you did not go to work. So this is because this is the benefit of having work contracts. This is only those that have work contracts can enjoy this insurance. They are protected from work injury. Now, if you are absent from work from 91 days and above, INAIL will pay you 75% of your salary, which will be 1,050 euros per month. So even if you are absent from work for 1 year due to your injury, they will keep paying you every month. You receive 75% of your salary. This is the law as at July 2025. These payments are called indennizzo giornaliera, okay, daily allowance. Once you are healed, INAIL doctors will evaluate if the injury left permanent damage. So the doctors will evaluate if the injury left a permanent damage on you. They use a standard national table to rate injuries from 1% to 100%. Even if you continue working after a minor injury, the case can be recorded and evaluated. You know, some of us migrants, even when we get a little cut, we just use bandage and tie it and keep working. However, it's still very important you go to the doctor to get the certificate, even if it's a minor one. You get the certificate. The case will be recorded and evaluated. If it's a minor injury, less than 6% injury rating from the doctor, you will not receive any pay. Okay, they will not pay you anything if it is less than 6% rating. That's the injury you got from work is less than 6% rating. So the doctors are the ones that rate your injury. So now let me give you practical examples of injuries and the percentage rating that the doctors give to it. Now, when you sustain an injury from work and the doctors, after they've examined you, they've treated you, they say that the injury is rated 6%. From 6% to 15% injury, you will get a time compensation, one-time compensation. Example, maybe you lost your fingertip, you lost a toe, then reduced mobility of your wrist, maybe your hand, the rate of which you move it reduced due to the accident, or you lost a fingertip. So they rate it between 6% and 15%. When you have 6% and 15% injury rating, the government, INAIL, will give you one-time payment. So that is called una tantum. They will pay you once. Okay, but if it is over 16% injury rating, you have lifelong monthly pension. It means they will pay you monthly pension for life. You will be placed on a lifetime pension. What kind of injuries are rated to be above 16%? One, loss of eye. Maybe you lost one eye or you lose one eye. One of your hands become amputated, meaning they cut off one of your hands, one of your legs. Then they will place you on a lifetime pension. Maybe you have permanent limp. You don't walk normally anymore. One of your legs become longer than the other. This kind of injury, the doctors, when you get this kind of injury, the doctors will place you on a lifetime pension. That is INAIL, the government. Due to the rating of the doctors, you will have a rating, an injury rating that is above 16%. Maybe you have partial stroke, partial paralysis. So with this level or with this gravity of injury, you will be placed on life monthly pension. Now, I will explain to you how one-time compensation works. How will you get it? Will you get it automatically Or will you have to apply for the one-time compensation? No, you don't need to apply. INAIL evaluates the injury from the certificate the doctor sends to it and automatically offers a tax-free lump sum. So they just pay you without any tax deduction. So the money they pay you is free from tax. You don't have to pay any tax on it. They will pay you that amount through your employer or directly to your bank account. If your injury rating is 6%, you have between 2,000 and 3,000 euros. If your injury rating is like 10%, you have 6,000 to 8,000 euros. But if your injury rating is 15%, you have one-time payment of 12,000 euros or more. So the amount they pay depends on your age. They'll have to consider how old are you, your gender. Are you a man or are you a male or a female? If you are a female, you are likely more vulnerable. You are weaker, and so you may get higher pay. Then they also consider, it depends on the percentage of disability. So these are the 3 factors that they consider how much they are to give to you. Next, how does monthly pension for life work? Some people will say, what if they have only worked for 1 month? Like I said earlier, it doesn't matter how long you've worked. It doesn't matter how long you've paid your tax. It doesn't matter. What matters is you as a worker having work contracts. As long as your work is registered with the government, you are protected. You are insured from work accidents. So you will get these payments and full support irrespective of the duration of years you have worked in Italy. So monthly pension for life, how does it work? It's given to those with 16% injury rating or more, above 16% injury rating. It is paid monthly for life until the person dies. It covers both health and economic damage. So it covers both health and economic damage. Example, a worker that earns 1,400 euros per month with 30% injury rating might get 500 to 700 euros per month as pension for life. So if someone that earns 1,400 euros per month gets a very critical injury, accident from work, that person may be placed on a monthly salary pension that ranges between 500 to 700 per month. And for life, this is whether the person, of course, the person cannot work again, because people that they put on this high scale rating, they are deformed. It means they have permanent scar that wouldn't allow them to work. Now, some of you will say, like I said, tax history does not matter. Whether you've not worked at all, maybe you started work newly in Italy and you've only worked for 1 month. As long as they've registered your contract, the duration of time you've worked does not matter. Your rights don't depend on how long you've worked or paid taxes. No, it doesn't. Even if you've worked only for 1 month. As long as your contract is legal, you were truly injured at work, you are fully covered. Some of you may ask, what if you can't return to the same job? You know, some people after they sustain injury, maybe people that do forklifts, for instance, or you do picking in your fabrica, in your company, you do cleaning, and or your waste, you are injured internally. You see, and after you have recovered, you find out that you cannot do that job again. Your employer says you are no more fit, because it's the doctor that certifies that no, though you have recovered, but you cannot do such a job again. Now, what happens? By law, your employer must find another role suitable for your new condition. Within that same company, your employer must, by law, give you a less stressful role to play. But if he doesn't have a less stressful role for you, he must contact INAIL for reintegration. So he must contact INAIL to tell them, see, oh, I don't have another role for this person. This person is not more useful for me. I don't have any other role. So what will INAIL do in that situation? They will send a technician to verify. They will propose job changes to you. That is, they will give you options for different jobs. They will train you and equip you with other jobs. If truly no role is available, the employer must justify sacking you. So if the employer does not have any new role that is less stressful for you, he must justify it to the government that there is no new role. Then the government, through different associations, will help you, will train you for a new job. They will train you. You will go for courses. You will go for training to get less stressful job. So what about those who are working, they are doing black job, they don't have work contracts? What if they sustain accidents or sustain injury while working? What will they do? Because they don't have work contracts. Their case is more difficult, and that is very, very risky for the employer, especially. If the employer, because the employer in this case may say that you didn't work that day, or you don't work for him, or the injury did not happen at the place of work. So because you don't have contract, and you have no contract, and you may not have witnesses, because no colleague will be willing to come and testify against the employer. They may be scared of losing their job. However, INAIL will still investigate it. Okay, the government will still investigate the situation. And if you are in this situation, you don't have work contract and you got injured, you are injured at the place of work, what can help? 1, doctor's reports. 2, you must have previous charts and something to show that yes, you work for him, you work for that company. Even if they didn't give you contract, you must have an evidence. Chart, previous charts with your employer, photos of you while working, clothes, voice notes, hospital record, injury during work. Okay, you must have evidence to show that. That is why it's important, especially if you don't have work contract. At the time, you need to take pictures with your colleagues. Take pictures of while you are working. When you chat with anybody, screenshot the chat and save it up. You save it so that if anything happens, if they don't pay you, you have evidence to show that you work for that company. Okay, but if INAIL rejects your claim, you can go to Patronato, you can go to CAF, you can go to CGLI or labor lawyer to make an appeal. Okay, you can go to any of these places to sue them, to make an appeal to the courts. So these are your rights. These are the things you must know if you are a worker in Italy. You must know how to do things legally. Maybe at the place of work, you sustain injury. You must know what to do when such thing happens. You must know that, yes, you sustain injury. You have an amount. The government will have to pay you a specific amount. How will they pay you? You go to the hospital to get this injury certificate, which the doctor will send to the government. And you have to send it to your employer, and the employer will have to communicate with the government within 2 days. This is how the process starts, okay? And every expenses you made, maybe you went to the hospital, they wrote some drugs for you to buy, and you bought them with your money. You must buy them using your health card, Tessera Sanitaria, and on the receipt, on that receipt, your codice fiscale, your tax code must be written on that receipt. Then it is with this receipt that you will get your money back from INAIL. Okay, so this is where I would like to end this video. I hope this video was useful to you. As a worker or as an intended worker in Italy, you need to know your rights. Stay safe and know your rights. You are not alone. Okay, so give me thumbs up, like this video, share it with your friends so they too will become aware of their rights as workers in Italy. See you in my next video. Arrivederci.